My name is Kristen Florence, and we are here today with Mr. Cackener. Today's date is January 7th, 2010, and we are conducting an interview for Mr. Rozel's World War II class. First question I have for you is, when were you born?
March 20th, 1924.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one brother who's 22 years younger than I am. So,
That's a difference.
he had a birthday shortly. So he's 66.
That is quite a difference. What did your parents do for a living?
My mother and father both worked for the Union Bags and Paper Company, and my dad worked of the machines. He did what is known as finishing and rewinding. What they did was cut up big rolls of paper and run those through the machine and make bags. And my mother was one of the machine bag recipients. She'd get a bunch and tie them on the string. It's pretty common labor.
Do you remember what it was like growing up in the Great Depression?
Yes.
Was it tough? Was it?
We lived from paycheck to paycheck. We were certainly not very well to do. You couldn't spend your money very foolishly because they didn't make that much. I can remember when my dad was getting something in the vicinity of 46 cents an hour, and it was kind of thin.
Yeah, it
During
sounds
the Depression, it was. We had a lot of spaghetti.
Did you ration a lot of stuff?
I beg your pardon?
Ration a lot of stuff, like only take a little bit of everything, not have much of food and stuff like that? Or?
Well, we always had enough to eat, but we didn't live like kings. We didn't have dessert and everything.
How did you feel when you heard about Hitler arising?
Well, being young, and I didn't really worry about it too much. Although I was on the debate team at school, and one of our debates, I can't remember who it was with now, our Hudson Falls had the declarative that has the Monroe Doctrine been of any benefit to the South American nations? And we were the German delegation, and it was interesting because we were representing people that everybody was mad at.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So I really wasn't too upset. I did try to enlist in the Army.
You did enlist?
But they wouldn't take me. I can't see.
Oh.
Or I couldn't see then.
Okay.
But they said, don't worry, when you're drafted, we'll take you.
Were you eventually drafted?
Yes, I was.
Oh.
But I still didn't pass the physical. There was a row of tacks in the floor, and when I had the first go-round, see whether I could enlist or not, I realized that you had to get closer to the screen than the row of tacks. So I got down there and made my face all screwed up. I looked at the chart, which I really couldn't see. I think the top letter is an E. And it was, of course, I'd already looked at it with my glasses on. So they let me pass that. But an interesting thing happened because I was burned when I was 3 days old by a nurse in the hospital. She had put a hot water bottle in a towel and put it in the bed with me, and it slid down to the towel and got between my knees, and I had burns on both knees. The right knee was clear to the bone, and she took the hot water bottle out, put a pinning blanket over me, and then took it off early in the morning so she could take me in. My mother wanted to see if I was still bow-legged, you know. 3 days old. I wasn't at my best. When she took the pinning blanket off, everything came off right down to the bone on my right knee. And I can remember when I was still a scab on the leg.
Wow.
I was about 2.5 years old. And I don't remember everything that happened to me, but I remember having a scab on my leg. And I've still got the scar.
The scar from it?
It's a bad one.
Oh, wow.
And the knee is not very good. So I went down to get in the Army, being drafted, and they told me that they wanted me to do a deep knee bend. And I can get down, but I can't get up. And so I flopped over on the floor, and they yowed and finally said, well, I guess we can't take you in the Army, Mr. Cackener. You'll be more help to the government in a defense job. So, being young and stupid, I got the American flag out and waved it and said, well, I didn't come down to get a job in the defense plant. I came down to get in the Army. Well, if you feel that way, you can come in on what they call limited service. I was in about a month and they abolished limited service, and I was already in. There wasn't much I could do about it, but I already knew I'd made a mistake. I was not sympathetic to what the Army was doing. I don't like the discipline. I didn't like the discipline, and I didn't like taking orders from people I thought were inferior to me in many ways. Our first sergeant was 62 or 3 years old, and he had rheumatism in his legs. And there is a test that you take when you go in, it's called the AGCT. That's the Army Ground Force Classification Test. It's pretty close to your IQ. And his score on the AGCT was 68. And you can imagine how I enjoyed having conversations with him. One of the kindest things he ever said to me, he looked at me and says, Cackener, you're the most no-account soldier I ever did see. He was from Arkansas. But I stuck with it. I went overseas on the first hospital ship the Army ever had, called the Acadia.
Yeah.
You got all that written down.
Yes,
Okay.
I do. No,
My
you
wife
can
did all
talk
the
about
writing.
it.
I don't know. What else can I tell you, Kristen?
How old were you when you joined the war?
18.
You were, oh, wow, young. You asked me to ask you about being in native sections of Algiers. Is that what that says? I can't read it.
What? I can't read my wife's.
Oh, right there.
Algiers.
Oh, Algiers.
Reading section. Oh dear. Algiers is pretty much a native city. I mean, it's big and heavily populated by Arabs, of course, because it's in North Africa. And it was interesting there. I did a number of stupid things. I ate in a native bazaar several times, and I finally got a native dysentery. It was something else. But I did some other things that I would rather not have recorded.
Okay, that's fine. Also, how Louis, is that the name, got his Purple Heart?
Oh, the guy named Louis Nagy.
Yep.
I would call him Nagy, N-A-G-Y, but being Hungarian, it's pronounced Nagya, I think. We went into Tunis, and we had a short pass off the ship. We went into Tunis, and there was an air raid, and Lou jumped into a bombed out cellar. He had a bottle of wine stuck in the top of his pants, and it broke. And he had a cut on the side of his belly. And he had been wounded under an act of war, and they got everybody on the ship as a joke. Everybody on the ship got on met down in a big room, and they gave him the Purple Heart.
Oh my
He
goodness,
was the only,
that's funny.
he was the only fellow that had a Purple Heart in our outfit. And Lou is quite a guy. He was, I had the opportunity to go to his house in a little town in northern New Jersey. It escapes me now. It had real Hungarian goulash made by a Hungarian woman. It is different than most of the goulash that we make here. Here it's more like hamburger and tomato sauce, spaghetti sort of thing with hamburger in it. But she made it completely different. It's kind of chunky. That was good. A little bit spicy, but good.
Also, what about the USHP Acadia? What can you tell about that, the ship?
Well, it was the first hospital ship that went out from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The ship was run by the Merchant Marine, and the medical detachment had nothing to do with the Merchant Marine. Well, I said I don't, but we did the first trip out. We went to Algiers. First trip out, we went to Oran in there, and we picked up a bunch of wounded people and brought them back to the United States, and then brought them to Staten Island, New York. And we were only here, I would say, 8 to 10 days, and we went back out again. This time we went to Algiers and picked up a whole bunch of wounded men and brought them back to Oran to the big general hospital there. And we tweeted around for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a little longer. And then we brought them back to Staten Island. And I know that we weren't here very long then. In the meantime, I had been seasick almost all the time. I was hit in the head with a ball bat when I was a kid. And it did something to my middle ear, so I get dizzy, and I was seasick quite a bit. And so, in the Army, it's always said they take the lousiest man in the company and give him to the chaplain. And so I was the chaplain's assistant.
Yeah, it says that. What did you do as the chaplain's assistant?
Oh, go around to the sick people and give the Catholics a crucifix and wear it, and the Protestants would give them a little cross, and the Jewish people would give them a little cross of David.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like two.
Yeah, Star of David.
The Star of David, yeah. And talk to them and see if they wanted anything like pencils or pens, or sometimes you just need somebody to talk to. But these men have been under heavy battle in North Africa. In fact, the North African campaign was just about over by the time we made our last trip from Algiers to Oran. We went back to Oran then, and in the meantime we had been into Tunis and hit a sunken wreck and bent the propeller on the ship, and we had to come back to Oran to have it fixed. And so that was great. We had 3 weeks there, I think. And we left there then and went to Sicily. We went to Palermo, docked, and we were getting them right off the beach there. Some of them were shot up pretty bad, and a lot of our patients died because they had so badly wounded. That was exciting because the Germans were able to drop a bomb right down the smokestack of English ship and raised game. I don't even know how many were hurt, but it was a big bang.
Did you learn a lot on the ship? Like to do
Yes.
the medical field and
A lot of
everything?
the
or-
stuff I learned is, cannot be put down in writing. Yeah, I learned a lot. I can sew you up if you get cut. I mean, I did a lot of that when we were bringing guys on board ship off the beach. We would patch them up, go back to a general hospital like Algiers or Oran, and leave them there if they were badly hurt until they got some health back. And then from there, we made one trip to Palermo, Sicily, and went back to North Africa with a wounded man. And then we went back to I'll tell you in a second. My age, I forget a lot. North beaches. I think it was at Salerno that time. We're getting the wounded right off the beach. And, we do what any hospital would do. Take care of them, patch them up, try to make them comfortable till they could get up to a place where they could take them back to the States, to a general hospital here.
Did you, it says here that you were a participant in the early use of sulfa drugs like penicillin and blood plasma. Did you do anything like that, or did you just do the patching up?
No, when we were bringing people right off the beach to the hospital ship, quite frequently we would give them either plasma or, and plasma was new then, and or give them penicillin. Everybody worked then. There's a limited number of men in the medical detachment, so they'd hand you a package of plasma, which you mix, it comes dry. You mix it with a fluid and put a needle into the person to keep his blood up. And it helped them shock. That's good. It was work. And with no resting, and you just, when we were getting patients in, there was no resting.
Just
You
keep going.
kept going.
Although it was wartime, did you have any happy memories with friends or anything?
Oh yes, Willie Nagy and I used to go ashore together. I had a friend in the Army. Before I had gone overseas, I was asleep in my bunk, and a man came in the middle of the night and crawled up into the top bunk over me, and he says, "Is this anybody's bunk?" And I said, "No, get in bed and shut up, Rick. I've got to get some sleep." And in the morning, a head came over the side of the bed and looked at me and he said, "What time it is?" And it was like looking into a mirror. You've never seen two people look so much alike. His name is Bob Harper. He's from West Virginia, and you couldn't tell us apart.
Wow.
And both of us are named Bob. So somebody might say, "Hello, Bob." He said, "Hello." And if it was somebody who it looked like they wanted to go do something, I'd say, "I'm the chaplain's assistant," or he would say, "I'm the dental assistant." And when they're looking for somebody, the fellow that worked with the dentist, and Bob's a good fellow. I spent a lot of time with him, and Louis Nagy, a fellow by the name of some brother's ship. The bunks were 3 high. The fellow that sat head to head with me, Polish fellow. His name kind of escapes me. Something like Stikowski or something like that. He stood out in the squad room because he didn't wash. He smelled terrible. And here I am sleeping head to head with him. Two people would sleep head to head, and then there'd be two people going foot to foot, their feet towards each other. And Stokowski stunk. Stokowski doesn't sound quite right anymore. Something like that. I had a lot of friends on the ship. We had one fellow that weighed about 290, and his nickname was Tiny. Tiny Landers. But he was big and strong.
What did you think about Truman's decision to use the atomic force against Japan?
I'm sorry, what?
What did you think about the atomic bomb?
Well, I had mixed feelings. I was glad that the war was getting over. There wasn't much fight in the Japanese before they dropped the two bombs on Nagasaki and where was the first one? I can't remember where they dropped the first bomb. Hiroshima. And the next they dropped in Nagasaki. And I've seen pictures that were taken at the scene, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
you can't imagine. I think anybody can imagine what kind of devastation it was.
Do you think overall it saved some lives, though? Do you think overall it saved lives, though?
Well, it probably saved some lives if they didn't have the fighting that they had took all fight on the Japanese in one big bang, or really two big bangs. We knew that there was some secret stuff going on, but we weren't privy to that information. But they dropped the bomb. Well, actually, when they had the bomb test out in the desert, near sticks. It was out in the west desert, out in the west. Can't tell you now. Maybe later.
Okay. Oh, when you came home, was life a lot different than than before the war?
Well, I was older. I took a more mature sight things. I went back to work. I was only out 2 weeks, and I went back to work at the old Imperial, which is between Hudson Falls and Glens Falls. First place I needed the money, and I decided that I had better go to college, and so I was
Did you use the GI Bill?
Yes,
You did?
but I went back to high school mornings and took all the math and science they had available, and so I could get in school. I had taken a pretty general course when I went to high school the first time. There was no hope I'd ever go to college then, so I took the easiest way out and didn't have a major to get in school, in college. But I went to school mornings and worked full time in the afternoon and evening. I finally did go. I went to St. Lawrence.
What'd you go to college for?
You know, my advisor asked me that. He wasn't so interested, I think, in why I was there. But I told him I went to college because I didn't want to work with my hands the rest of my life. And he looked kind of askance at me.
That makes sense.
Well, it does. If you'd shoveled dirt for a while, all day long, and you get tired of that kind of job.
What would you like students today to know about World War II and its generation?
I'm sorry, Kristen.
What would you like students today to know about World War II?
Sherman, during the Civil War, said war is hell, and it is. I think I might have been a little pacifistic. And was anxious to see the fighting stop, because I lost a lot of friends during the war. I think the kids should understand that war is not the answer. However, the Second World War was really a justifiable war. We had been attacked. And they should know, I think kids today should know that war is not the answer. Everybody loses if we have a war. You lose some of the prime youth. We're losing some of our best young people right now in Iraq and Afghanistan. My personal feeling is we'll never get out of Afghanistan. They have problems that they've had for centuries, and it's not going to end. I don't see how we can get out without taking over the country or something like that. It's very difficult. Well, maybe something good will happen. We've been in Iraq for 7 years.
A while.
7 or 8 years, and last month was the first month that no Americans were killed. They said on the TV.
I didn't know that.
And every night on the news, they got the pictures and the information. They read out the name of people that have been killed, and then last night or the night before, they read off 9 more names, and they were all from Afghanistan. And we've lost a few of our kids from around here.
So I really have to ask you today. I got all my basic info. I appreciate you letting me interview you.
It's no big deal.
No, thank you. I appreciate it very much. I got all my info right here and in this interview.
Good.
Yep. You can stop that now.